welcome to another episode of Garden to Table with Rose, and I am Rose. So, it has been a while since I did a front yard tour. I should have done it probably a week or so ago when all of the lilies were in bloom, but I didn't have the time to get around to it. So, I'm going to do it now. I am gardening in Kalamazoo, Michigan, Zone 6A, and it is the beginning of August. So this is the front yard garden tour. And for those of you who don't know, this whole garden was pretty much planted this season. I started digging up garden beds as soon as the ground was workable in March or whatever, and planted most of the stuff. The only thing that was already here were 8 fruit trees that line the side of my house. And I am in the suburbs, in a subdivision, so I have a pretty small lot that I'm working with. But this is the front yard, so I'm gonna do a circle around the yard here and just look at what's going on. My clematis is climbing finally up this trellis. I'm very happy about that. I don't know how far it'll get before our first frost, but that's good. These are hydrangeas that are in front of the little fence on both sides, and they've started to grow, which is good because I was a little bit worried. Some of them, hydrangeas, when you transplant them, I noticed they tend to get, they brown up quite a bit. It looks like they might die, and then they kind of bounce back. So we've had some really hot weather here, some 90-degree days, and it's just been a mess. And so I noticed that a couple of the hydrangeas, particularly the bulbos, they ended up with a lot of burn, like on the leaves. Look at this, on the petals. So it might be a combination of the high temperatures for us and my inconsistent watering, but they're still going strong, so hopefully they bounce back. And in front of the hydrangeas is where I again have nut trees. I have almonds here, I have chestnuts, and then there are persimmons, and then it goes into the other fruit on the other side. So this little one is a hydrangea, not sure which variety. This one is the snowball viburnum. The butterfly bush is it actually has flower, and this was like a little 4-inch pot that I planted just like 2 months ago. Now it's supposed to be 3 colors, and there's only a little bit of purple. The white one has taken over, so we'll see what ultimately happens with that. The bees love these stalky things, Liatris, Spiccatica, whatever it is. I'm not quite sure, but I have a lot of these tall, stalky flowers that are perennials. They were bulbs that I planted. The bees love those. I planted a little hyssop anise, I believe that is, which is annual. But look, they love that too. They're all over it. Now, this bed here, I just dug this up. Well, my son dug it mostly, but I've been weeding it. And I am trying to join, right, this crescent area all the way out to the driveway, because this was just a little slice of pie in the middle of the yard. I'm joining that with this long bed in the front. And so I dug all this up and put some weed stuff here because I need to kill off all the grass and weeds as much as I can, while also not disturbing my roses, which the roses are still there. So, digging around them and using something that was okay for shrubs and flowers and stuff. So I already have 2 hydrangeas that I'm going to put in this little spot here I'm making, and they are both the puffer fish. It's a new one from Proven Winners, so I'm excited about that one because it's unique. And then this whole front strip, let's see here, this is like it's about a 3-foot strip that runs alongside the driveway that right now is just dug up dirt, and it goes all the way to the end of this bed. So I have decided, at least for this year, I'm going to plant all of my tulip bulbs in that 3-foot strip. I was going to put them in individual pots and line all the pots along the driveway because I wanted to do a massive show of these tulips. But since this strip has nothing right now, that would be perfect. They'd be centralized in one place so that I can pull them out, because I use tulips as annuals now. And so I'm planting 500 tulips there. That's the point. So it's going to be this massive show is my goal. And then, as time goes on, I'll add some stuff here. This one rose is not doing anything, so I think that one's dead, but I'll wait until spring to pull it out when I have another one to put in there. But the rest of them, I think they all flowered for first year. I put these in this winter, when the ground was just workable, and or early spring, and they've all flowered this year, so I'm impressed. Anyway, over here I had a ton of lilies. See if I can even find one that's left. Here's a little section of them. I had a ton of these white lilies, and they were beautiful, and they bloomed for maybe about 2 weeks, and now they're at the end. So a lot of them I have already deadheaded. They are perennials, but I'm sorry I missed showing you that. So everything is lush right now. This humidity, this heat is like a tropical thing. And, I've been on my fertilizing game for the most part. I do not spray up here anymore because the bees and pollinators are all here, and I definitely don't want to harm them. So some things are eaten on by bugs. And right now that's just going to have to be as it is. The only thing I would spray up here are my fruit trees, because they are not flowering, and they're my fruit trees. They're very important. So, but yeah, I don't spray any of the flowers or anything. And there's tons of bees here. But you can see everything is lush. These are annuals here, but that moon rock hydrangea is fantastic. My rosemary, these are rosemaries that I've had for 2 years in pots and overwintered in the house, and I'm just so happy with the fact that they bounced back from this little pot that looked like it was half dead to this beautiful bush. Love rosemary. I try to plant rosemary in every garden bed I have. I just love it. I love harvesting it and cooking with it, and it's also a very attractive shrub, and it kind of wards off some bugs, because I noticed that the insects don't really like the strong scent of a lot of herbs. So whenever you plant a bunch of herbs around something you don't want them to mess with, and I tend to do that around like my berry bushes, they seem to leave it alone. They don't mess with the herbs for sure. They don't eat on those, and it kind of keeps them at bay from your plants, I think. So that's what's going on here. I got a couple of pots still thrown in there. The Shasta Daisies are going strong. I think I'll be planting those again. They're an easy flower, and they bloom for a long time. So, alright, and then on the porch, my onions are still going strong. I don't know if I mentioned in the last video, but I found out that these 3 shrubs that I've disliked for many years are actually spirea, and I like spirea. I never even put 2 and 2 together. They were here when I got the house, but they've been here probably since the house was built, and they bloom. They get huge. I cut them all the way back about a foot mid-season this year, and they're still that large. So they just got done blooming, and again, I didn't make a video when they were blooming, but they were pink, like a light pink. And so now that period's over, and I probably will shear them back in the fall again. And then I got one long sunflower that was a volunteer from last year. So I tend to, once they get full size, I take all the leaves off, because that's just room for bugs and mold and stuff to grow, and they don't need them because I'm not trying to save this. So I just let it stay there, and then I leave it into the fall, because the seeds, if you have a variety that's producing big seeds, are really good for the birds. It's food. And so, it gives them something in the bleak months when it's, harder to find food. So that's what I do with that. So, and then way over there, I moved the elderberry bushes over there just because I was digging up this new bed, and then those big pots with so many petunias. It's a beautiful display of white. And I never got any more blooms from the amaryllis. I just got that one that bloomed. The others grew leaves, but no flower bloom. So my boxes are looking sad. I had to pull out a lot of stuff because it just got too hot and it was not striving in these little boxes. These boxes, the interiors are very, very small, so you can't plant a lot. But the sweet potato vine seems to love it here for sure. And there are a couple of evergreen shrubs, little ones in the back too. The tree hydrangea is taking off. This was a bare root, so it's gotten pretty big, and I still have my little collection of pots. A lot of those things are done flowering, and that's all there is to it. Here's all my little topiaries and all that stuff over here. This daffodil is still blooming. It's a big old stalk. It's a pretty yellow flower though. Coleus has been doing well over here. It seems to like the semi-shaded part sun areas more. This is my red twig dogwood, which is leafing out, and unfortunately I lost the yellow twig dogwood. It just did not take off here, and so I'll have to replace that at some point. There's actually another little tree hydrangea, I think, the peewee, back there in that little corner. I don't know how well it'll do because it's pretty shaded over there, but I think when I ordered them, it was a 3-pack or something. And then over here, everything has just filled in. If you can remember back to some of the earlier front yard tours, the yarrow is actually blooming. It's beautiful. I love yarrow. And it's a perennial, and it just fills in. This celosia is so cool. It feels like velvet, the texture. Is that not crazy? Never grown that, never even seen it until I started looking at the catalogs at flowers. So my barberry is growing. It's beautiful. There's a hydrangea in front of it. I'm not sure which kind that is. And then there are 2 hydrangeas in the front. They're shorter ones and they're pink. I can't remember if they were ruby slippers or something like that. These are all annual, so these will be pulled out. But in its stead, obviously I have the sky pencil holly, which is finally growing. I have another hydrangea there. That's an Annabelle hydrangea. So that'll definitely fill in as it gets bigger, and there are perennial bulbs here too. But so those annuals will be coming out. This is an annual. I believe this is a hyssop anise or something to that effect. I'm not sure. I'll have to wait till it blooms and figure it out. But I know I planted it from seed, whatever it is. I got some hollies back in the back. These sweet peas should be done. It's hot well until the summer, and they like cool weather, but they're still growing and they're so pretty. I cannot bring myself to pull them out. These Oh So Easy roses, I got 3 of those on clearance at Home Depot, I think. So they're like $13 for a rose bush. It was pretty good. And I got 3 of the, I don't know, I think it's called paprika or something like that, the color. But it'll bring some orange over here. I'm trying to do oranges and reds, mostly in this area. Yellow. There's another hydrangea over there. I'm not sure if that's an Annabelle. Might be. This baptisia, definitely, that flowers in the spring, so that's not going to do anything but hopefully get a little bit bigger and established. And I could not tell you what this is. It looks like something I planted for sure. It's I don't think it's a weed, but I'm gonna have to wait till it blooms. Maybe it's a lilac. I don't know what it is. I didn't label that one for some reason. My apple tree is not looking very good that I put in here this spring. It's a Fuji apple because I was worried about losing the one I had. But all the leaves suddenly just died off of it. But the bark is still green, so I don't know. This is the Kwanzaa cherry tree, cherry blossom tree. Yeah, so there's a lot of empty space too back here. There's really not anything. So I don't know what I'm going to put there yet. I want to put something really tall here. I mean, my fruit trees, you know, will get as tall as I let them, which will only be about 6 feet. But I want to put something tall here, not a fruit tree. I was thinking like a little maple tree, something that I could prune, obviously, and keep a certain height because I don't want anything massive. But yeah, maple tree would be nice because that bright red that the leaves will turn burgundy, some of the varieties. So yeah, but the fruit trees are all doing well. I put these little bags on my fruit to just try to keep a couple for myself and not let the birds get them. So they are small, but this is the first year that my tree has fruited, and I just planted these. This is only the second year they've been in the ground, so from bare roots. So I'm impressed, and I'm going to eat those peaches. This Cosmo is humongous, and it finally started flowering. I love it though because I have so many empty spaces. It just fills it in, and it has these pretty little orange flowers, which is the color scheme I'm going for over here. So that works. So this whole thing will be pulled out because this is annuals, this whole stocky thing, and in front of it, which will fill in its place, is my Rose of Sharon tree, which is supposed to be red. Supposed to be. It's all budded up. So I found that interesting because I thought this would be something that would flower in the spring or early summer, but it's just now budding up. So that must mean it's not going to flower until we get close to fall. So that's interesting. And there's not much else going on over here, really. There's a lot of annuals sprinkled in. Euphorbia and stuff like that is there. Hellebores, stuff that likes shade. But now it's just done blooming and all of that. So that's what I have going on. I'm very pleased with the front yard. The only thing that hasn't really panned out is my poor little climbing hydrangea. I think we have to say goodbye. It did not thrive in that spot. I wanted it to climb up this tree. But, you know, maybe I'll try again next year. So the apples and pears are in this row, and they are not doing anything but just getting bigger, which is fine. They all look healthy. Something's eating the leaves, but I'm not going to spray them again. It's been pretty rainy, so there's no point in spraying. It'll wash it all off. But that is all for my front yard garden tour, and hopefully I shall be back with a wrap up of the backyard. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye bye.